Welcome to the webinar. My name is Rob Wu, CEO and co-founder of CauseVox. You also have Jenna Notar-Francesco of CauseVox as well, and we're super excited to share with you today in a super fast webinar about how you can create a fundraising thermometer. I'm going to hand it over to Jenna to do some intros.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob. So as you know, we are CauseVox. We are a digital fundraising tool that'll help you raise more with less effort. We do that by helping you to take part in and use donation forms and pages, campaign pages, mobile payments, ticketing, peer-to-peer. And also we provide hands-on one-on-one support and also provide some educational resources, usually free resources, guides, templates, and webinars like this one to give you some inspiration along the way. And today we're focusing on our free fundraising thermometer that you can use as a tool for your organization to visually display progress of your campaigns. But also we do provide an automated fundraising thermometer on all of our donations for integrated donations on our peer-to-peer and crowdfunding sites. So if you're looking for any sort of more robust automated fundraising thermometer, that is also integrated within all of the CauseVox campaign sites. So we can help you modernize donations, whether it's on a donation form on your website or even, on a campaign site like a peer-to-peer fundraising site. And again, you can use this for any DIY campaign, virtual challenge, gala. It's really easy to set up in minutes, literally, and it's a great way to get your community activated and convert more of your donors. So we definitely would encourage you, if you want to check it out more, schedule a demo with us. You can book one of our pre-recorded demos or even a live demo with me so we can talk about how we can use a more personalized approach for your organization. I'm going to hand it back to Rob.
All right, thank you, Jenna. So today what we're going to do is a 30-minute session. We're going to talk about what is a fundraising thermometer, when and where to use it for fundraising, how you can create one, and some kind of design like tips and some hacks as well. And going to talk about some of the best practices of using a fundraising thermometer. We will have an optional Q&A as well. I'm going to try to do the meaty section in about 20 minutes and then do some Q&A 5 to 10 minutes at the end of our session. So what is a fundraising thermometer? Let's just jump into this real fast. This is a fundraising thermometer. I kind of think I'm speaking to the choir here, preaching to the choir, but this is an example of a fundraising thermometer. It's basically a thermometer that tracks your progress in your fundraising toward a specific goal. It's a visual representation of how your fundraising is going so you can relay to donors your fundraising progress. Here's like a different one. This is just a screenshot of a CauseVox campaign site that is ending tomorrow, I believe. And they're using a fundraising thermometer as well, but we call it a progress bar to count the amount of donations being raised towards their goal. They're over the goal of $20,000, so it says 100%. And what's also interesting too is that there's variations of a fundraising thermometer. So you can have a fundraising thermometer not only count the amount of donations being raised, but you can also count the number of activity being tracked. Let's say you're doing a walk or run with peer-to-peer. Your network and your participants can actually count the amount of kilometers or miles being cycled or walked for your fundraising event as a fundraising thermometer as well. And then we do have donation counters as well, which is a variation where it's not a thermometer or progress bar style. It's just a numeric counter, count down or count up, depending on whether you're looking at a days remaining counter or an impact counter. So different variations, but fundraising thermometer, the basic principle is it counts progress towards something. Why use a fundraising thermometer? So a couple of strong reasons, core reasons why. One is that it clearly communicates your fundraising progress, and through gamification, as your individual donors look at your fundraising progress and they see it progress, then they kind of want to help you get to 100%. So it clearly communicates your fundraising progress as a way to incentivize and provide urgency for your donors to make a donation. In addition to that, you can show your progress very easily in a visual fashion. So instead of not having a display or a counter of your fundraising progress, where donors don't know where you are in the fundraising process, whether you raise 10% or whether you raise 100%. They actually know how they can contribute and what their difference is as they think about the dollar value they want to contribute to your campaign. And very lastly, also allows donors to celebrate with you when their goal is achieved. So everybody loves checking the box and completing tasks, as well as getting to 100%. So this allows people to celebrate with you in order to reach the fundraising achievement. So when should you use a fundraising thermometer? So thermometers are useful with four different instances. One is when you have a specific fundraising goal in mind. If you don't have a fundraising goal, then you're probably just raising funds for general operating expenses. But when you do have a fundraising goal that's really specific, then you can actually plug it in so you can track progress against that goal. When you have a specific time frame as well, typically we see fundraising thermometers used for like a year-end fundraising or a Giving Tuesday, something really short and specific, so you can provide updates. When you have a particular project or program that you want fundraise for, you can have different progress bars and different fundraising thermometers for each project or program. And very lastly, it's very useful. Fundraising thermometer is really useful when you're seeking donations from individual donors. So people making $5,000 and less, but also you can provide this for your major donors as well if you're raising funds, for example, for a capital fund. Common use cases, we did mention some of these before, including year-end fundraising, Giving Tuesday, capital campaigns. You can also use it for live streams as well to give a visual interface as people make donations and see the bar increase. And then you can also use it for short-term fundraisers for a particular program. All right, so some instances and reasons why you should use a fundraising thermometer. I want to jump into actually how you can use one. We do have a free fundraising thermometer creator that we created, I believe last year sometime, and it's become super popular. So Jenna will paste in the link, cosvox.com/fundraising-thermometer. It's a free tool. There's no account, no login, no credit card. You can just go in here and make your own free fundraising thermometer. I'm going to show you how to do this. And let's just jump into it. So let me share my screen on how you can actually use this tool. So bear with me just a second as I switch over. All right, so once you go to cosvox.com/fundraising-thermometer, it's a free fundraising tool, just like you saw in the slides. The first thing you want to do is on the left-hand side under the settings, you can just select the fill color. The fill color really is the color. Right now, it's kind of this red color over here, but you can choose the color to match whatever look and feel that you're looking for. So whether it be green or blue or purple or kind of whatever color that you want, then you can select that. If you do have your hex color code, this is a 6-digit color code that might be related to your branding guide or your logo, then you can do this in order to do something that's a little bit more branded, which I highly encourage. If you're looking to figure out how you get your hex color code, there's a lot of online tools out there. If you search hex color picker, here's one I found. It's called imagecolorpicker.com. And what you can do is you can upload an image of your logo, for example, or an image of your website, and then it allows you to kind of hover over and pick what the color codes are. So for example, if I'm trying to get this specific dark blue in this example image here, it plugs in the hex, it shows me the hex color, then I can copy and paste this number into the fundraising thermometer tool. There are a lot of ads over here, so user beware. All right, so that's not our tool, that's someone else's. That's just one example. So let's say you found your hex color code, you can just do that, or you can use a color swatch over here in order to find it. The next thing you want to do is figure out what your fundraising goal is. So let's say you want to try to raise $100,000, okay? You can plug in your fundraising goal over here, and that's your amount. And then the progress amount is something that you want to use throughout your fundraising campaign or initiative, where let's say you send out your first fundraising email and you had this silent phase. So let's say you raised already $10,000 from your donors, then you can actually plug in that progress amount so that it increases this thermometer to make it go up. And then as you're running your fundraising initiative and you're getting donations in and you want to update that, then you can you can go back to this tool again and punch in whatever number that you want to. So that's the progress amount. So this progress amount determines how high that thermometer goes, that red part that you see over here. All right, we have some display options as well in this free tool. So for example, you can showcase your goal amount. If you check the box over here, then it'll show that $100,000, for example, as part of this image. And then you can also show progress, which is this left-hand 90% if you wanted to showcase that, which I highly encourage folks to do. Otherwise, your audience wouldn't know where this bar is. You can also show progress amount. So people can see, hey, I'm 90%. They're 90% there, 90,000 K, 100,000 raised. So that gives more of a visual display as well. And once you're happy with this, you can actually just download this image into a JPEG and include that in your email newsletter or a social media post or wherever you want to put it. We do have some additional options too, which I think are best practices. So let's say you want to put this image on your website, and your website has this more of a darker theme and not a white background. What you can do is you can use a dark background mode, and that basically just reverses all the colors in contrast. Right now, I wouldn't think this looks the best, but you can kind of play with some of the images over here or the colors in order to make it match a little bit more. So we have this dark background mode that's possible too, if you want to embed this or include it in more of a dark background. But by default, it's on a light background, which is just a typical white. We do have additional options too, which I'll come back to in a minute. So once you're happy with this fundraising progress bar, fundraising thermometer, you can just click on save image, this orange button here. It'll download the fundraising thermometer into a JPEG file, which then you can use it for any purpose that you want to. The other option that we have too is if you want to embed this fundraising progress bar onto your site, then you can actually copy and paste this JavaScript into the HTML of any web page, whether you're using WordPress or Wix or Squarespace. You can just put in like a custom HTML module and then paste this code in, and this will display the fundraising thermometer for you on your site. So just for example, I can copy and paste this JavaScript over here. This is just like one of my little sandboxes here. And then once I paste it in, it'll show this fundraising progress bar on the right-hand side on your page. And if I scroll down, I'll kind of just do this animation since I have the animation settings selected as part of this. So just again, what happens is that once you embed, if you use this code to embed it on your website and you have the animation option on, then as folks go to the fundraising thermometer, they will be attracted to it and look at it since there's this animation that happens. When you use the image, the JPEG style one, it's not going to animate just because it's just a static picture. But if you wanted something more dynamic, you can always use the JavaScript embed method. So that's about it. Oh, okay, so I have a few other things too, a few tips. So related to what I was just using over here, this is just like a code box. So it's called jsfiddle.net. I like to use this anytime I'm playing with some code, which I don't do often. Even showing you all of this, you think I'm a genius and know how to code, but I actually don't. This is just a way for me to test embeds that basically just paste in the code that's displayed in the fundraising thermometer tool into the HTML, and you press run, and then it'll just show up on the right-hand side of this page, just so you can see if you like it or not. So I encourage you all to play with that if you want to kind of play around with that. The other thing too that I like a lot too is this other site called Cool Orders. I don't know how to pronounce it. Basically, coolors.co. It's a color palette tool. So if you're looking for colors to play with that are complementary, let's say you're running a fundraising campaign or creating or designing an email, then there's this color palette tool that I like to use a lot. Especially, it basically just go to the site and it gives you some color palette options that you can choose from. And you can press spacebar essentially to go do some of the colors. And then these giant numbers over here, these are the hex color codes that you can use. You can go back to your fundraising thermometer tool over here, and then it'll automatically change that color to the color that you just copied. So you can play with some of those tools. They're all free. Yeah, this fundraising thermometer thermometer tool is free too. So you can take a look. All right. So that's our tool here. Again, it's cosvox.com/fundraising-thermometer. If you enjoy using this tool, feel free to share it with your colleagues, feel free to link to it, feel free to share it on social. I'm very interested in having folks use this because it's free and it's useful. So no strings attached. Let me see. All right, let me go back to my slides. So here we go. Here are the slides here. Again, and here are some of the examples of the outputs of it. So what I definitely recommend is play with the colors, play with the backgrounds, play with the settings, and then you can get to a point where it'll work for you. All right. Jen, I'm going to hand it over to you for some more of the automated fundraising thermometers.
Awesome, thanks. That was so cool. I really love the free fundraising thermometer tool. I feel like it makes anybody look like super high tech with these orgs. You can just put your own visual progress visual up there. But if you are looking for something more animated, more automated, automated progress fill, we do also provide that directly in our campaigns. So this is the Power Workers Union example that Rob has in his slides. And now we're down to 45 hours left remaining on their campaign. This is an example of that automated end date, counters remaining metric. And then just as you can also see, we have the automated progress here, progress bar here. So as donations are received into the campaign, this number, the 24,426 number, automatically increases in real time. And the progress bar fill also increases. So instead of having, like in the example of the free fundraising thermometer tool, you'd have to go back to your design editor and input the number of the increase. With this page, it's just all integrated and automated automatically. The number will increase as donations come in. Similarly, with the second progress bar here, this is that activity metric bar that Rob was talking about. And this is a way that we allow you to track the activity across all of your peer-to-peer pages. So this is the cumulative total activity across peer-to-peer pages. And we give your fundraisers a way to log into their dashboard and input their activity progress, and then that is reflected here automatically. We have a cumulative addition here across all the pages. As you can see, we have a little leaderboard here, so fundraisers are able to add the progress of their activity, and it shows up on their page as well as the main landing page of the campaign. So it's all done for you. No need to go back in now and add your own metrics. It's all tracked really quick and easy here. And then the last metric here is just the donor count. So as donations come into the campaign, the number of donors automatically increases in your stats section as well. Here's just another quick example of a virtual walk with that secondary progress bar, a little different look and feel. This campaign is ended, as you can see, with the 0 days remaining. And then finally, I do always love the active in mission campaigns, CBM's campaigns. So they not only doubled their fundraising goal, but they also share this numeric automated metric of an impact metric. We call this the impact metric because it shows how much impact your campaign has made if you want to quantify goods or services. So they were raising funds for months of kids' education, and they were able to raise enough money to support 2,453 months of kids' education, which is a lot. And it really shows the donors and their whole community that they're making big change and that their money is put to good use. And this number is just automatically increases as your funds increase. So just is an easier, I think an even easier tool to make that kind of visual impact.
Awesome. Yeah, I really like the ability just to track the fundraising thermometer in real time so that you don't have to go in and manually update it. So there's some of the things that I think are really useful, so that it just offloads kind of that administrative manual task to something that can be automated through a platform like Cosbox. So tips and best practices in terms of your fundraising thermometer is make frequent updates. So you want to update your community and your list and your audience about how fundraising is going. So you probably want to use the fundraising thermometer tool, our free one, if you're using that one, several times throughout your fundraising initiative, or if you're using one of our platform tools, which is also free too, then you can just have it done automatically. You want to be sure to set a realistic goal, because the one thing you do want to do is make sure you have a high chance of hitting the 100%, with the possibility of exceeding that 100%. A lot of times fundraising campaigns and fundraising thermometers never reach 100%. So even though it looks like a failure, it is not, but it's just a failure in setting what a realistic goal is. You try starting off your thermometer with some funds raised already. Typically we call this the silent phase, where you're working with board members and major donors to kind of seed your fundraising thermometer with about 20, 30%, or sometimes even more than that. If you're running a capital campaign, that's closer to around 75%, so that the last individual amount is more of an incentive and provides urgency for other donors to give. Make sure your donation button is nearby, because it's one thing to communicate your fundraising progress, but if you're missing an opportunity to convert that audience to donors, if you don't have an easy way for them to make a donation. So you can be sure to put like a donate button nearby, or a link to your donation page. If you don't have a donation page or form, you can use something like Cosvox for that very easily. And you can also look into embedding your thermometer on your website, so that you can utilize the traffic and organic traffic that you get naturally in order to generate more awareness on your fundraising initiative. The fundraising thermometer tool that you use today does give you a JPEG image. So if you want to include it in a bigger graphic that you create, with maybe some imagery of your project or program, or adding a donor quote to it, then that's definitely possible too. You just need to use a image editing tool like Photoshop, or something like Canva, for example. Some additional resources here, I think, which have been included in the chat. The first one is our free fundraising thermometer tool, so feel free to check it out. And if you like it, feel free to link to it, and share it with your friends and family. And then very lastly, if you're interested in our platform to help you automate your fundraising thermometer, as well as to help you with your fundraising donation form, feel free to check us out at cosvox.com/schedule-a-demo. All right. We're pretty much on time, so let's open up for any questions that people have. It looks like we have a few questions so far, so feel free to use the chat function or the Q&A function to ask your questions. First one so far is from Ayana. So she's asking, do you need to manually update this tool? So yes, yeah, you actually do. The free fundraising thermometer is a static thermometer, so it doesn't update automatically since it's not tied into your donation form. So you'll need to update it manually, but it's pretty easy to do that. You can just go to our tool and just change the amounts, and then there you have it. Or if you wanted something more automated, then you can use one of our Cosvox platform tools, like our campaign sites or our forms, in order to have something that automatically tracks it. Another question too is, does Cosvox integrate with the donor database? Yes, we do. We integrate with tools like Salesforce, Kindful, Little Green Light, Bloomerang, NetSuite, and a couple other donor databases. So that is something that is possible, where our data that we collect on our platform is automatically sent over to your donor database so that you don't have to spend more time importing data. A question from Jacqueline. So Jacqueline's asking, can you create a custom progress bar, a person, tool, etc.? So you're not able to create a custom one like that using our free fundraising thermometer tool. So that's something that we're looking at doing. One of the things on our roadmap for that free tool is to present different styles. Right now it's more of a friendly, modern, contemporary feel to it. Want to add additional styling to it. So just like selecting a font, it gives you a different feel. So that is something that is coming very soon. All right. So a bunch of questions. Any other questions from our audience today?
This is just the best webinar, no questions.
We're so on time. I mean, this is a lot of fun. So I guess no other questions.
Oh,
Okay,
how can we sign up for CauseVox newsletter or weekly updates?
Yes, so our newsletter and weekly updates are all free. Our resources are free too. So you can go to causevox.com/blog. That's our main area where we have a bunch of our resources and tools. And then there's a subscribe box where you can go to in order to see it. So if I go back to my website here, so causevox.com. So this is just our main homepage. You go to learn over here. You can just click on blog articles, for example, and then it takes you into our free fundraising tips and education. And then there's the purple subscribe area where you can enter your email and click the purple button, and they'll add you to our blog. If you did sign up for this webinar, you're already subscribed to our blog. So you will get weekly emails from our education team already. So if that's something you did, then which probably you did since you're on this webinar, then there's no need to go to causevox.com/blog. Okay, well, more questions. So a question from Nancy. Nancy's asking, is it possible to edit the top with a burst effect if we exceed our goal? It is not possible yet. That's one of the limitations of the design. We were not able to find a creative way that our design team was happy with in terms of that effect. But there are certain elements that we're trying to carry over from our donation form. For example, there's this confetti effect on our event ticketing forms and our donation forms after our donor goes through with the transaction. That's kind of cool. And it looks very similar to if you use an iPhone. If you iMessage somebody and say congratulations, they kind of just this confetti thing. So that is something that we're trying to add into the fundraising thermometer tool. So that's coming up soon. All right. Alrighty, so in terms of housekeeping announcements, again, we will be sharing a recording of this webinar probably by tomorrow, including the slides and the links to all these fancy free tools. If you do have any questions in the meantime, or as you're trying to use some of these resources, feel free to contact us, support@causevox.com. We'd love to hear from you. If you have feedback in terms of how we can improve some of our resources and tools, feel free to let us know. We're always happy to hear your ideas as well as your feedback. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining our webinar today. We look forward to hearing from you soon.